Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our next Rotary Power Hour with District 6310. Today, we are going to hear from Andreas Teich about the Rotary's 7 areas of focus. This will be a great video for you to use for orientation and for any new members that are interested in learning about Rotary, and then even for some of your veteran Rotarians who are just curious and learning on what Rotary does around the globe and then within our district. Andreas comes from us from our Bay City Noon Club, and he serves the district in a few ways. He is involved with water and sanitation, and then also our Rotary Foundation. So it's my pleasure to introduce Andreas, and go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Tara, and the rest of you who have joined us today. It's kind of an elite group of Rotarians that I'm talking with. So the Rotary, as you know, has 7 areas of focus, and this is really the way that Rotary determines where they're going to emphasize their work. Obviously, clubs can choose to work outside of those, but if you want to get involved with global projects, this is the way it works. So I'm just going to go through those and talk a little bit about each area of focus, and then some of the projects that we have done in the district that relate to those areas of focus. There we go. So here's the 7 areas of focus: peace building, disease prevention, water, sanitation, hygiene, maternal and child health, basic education literacy, community economic development, and environment. And environment is the newest of those. So in the area of peace, promoting peace, Rotary is interested as a humanitarian agency to say that peace is a cornerstone of our mission. We believe that when people work to create peace in their communities, that change can have a global effect. By carrying out service projects and supporting peace fellowships and scholarships, members take action to address the underlying causes of conflict, including poverty, discrimination, ethnic tension, lack of access to education, and unequal distribution of resources. We speak about positive peace, which means we're creating a world in which all those other things can happen. Our commitment to peace building today answers new challenges. How can we make the greatest possible impact, and how can we achieve our vision of lasting change? Approaching the concept of peace with a greater cohesion and inclusivity, broadening the scope of what we mean by peace building, and finding more ways for people to get involved. Now, locally, we've gotten involved with a project called 10,000 Trees for Peace. I'm going to talk about this again in the environment section because it's going to actually be an environmental grant because that's easier to measure than a peace grant. But 10,000 Trees for Peace in Juba, South Sudan. Now, generally, when we hear about South Sudan on the news, we hear about the fact that they can't get their act together, and there seems to be a lot of strife. But here in Juba, in this little community called Gudele West, which is sort of a neighborhood there, about 14,000 residents, there's 2,800 households, there's small businesses. In this area, they have decided that planting trees will bring economic and peace for that area. There are a number of refugees and different ethnic groups that have come to live together, but this is a really great place. They've planted 100 trees already, looking to plant 9,900 more. And so the Rotary Club of Midland is championing this project of 10,000 trees for peace in South Sudan. Disease prevention and treatment. We believe good health care is everyone's right, yet there are 400 million people in the world that can't afford or don't have access to basic health care. Disease, as you know, results in misery, pain, and poverty for millions of people worldwide. That's why treating and preventing disease is so important to us. We lead efforts both large and small. We set up temporary clinics, blood donation centers, training facilities in underserved communities struggling with outbreaks, and healthcare access. We design and build infrastructure that allows doctors, patients, and governments to work together. Our members combat diseases like malaria, HIV/AIDS, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, diabetes, and polio. Prevention is important, which is why we also focus on health education and bringing people routine hearing, vision, and dental care. So we all know about the drive to end polio. In Liberia, there's been some work done on reducing HIV infection by testing women early in their pregnancies. And in Ghana, there's been some work done with getting rid of the guinea worm disease by having clean water. And that was a project that started about 15 years ago. It's really part of what got us involved in water in the first place, and a major grant with USAID. But another example of that is the Saginaw Valley Club's work at the Rotary Eye Hospital in Purgatur in India. They provide eye care for about 50 surrounding villages. And from 1987 to 2015, they did 567,000 eye exams and 147 cataract surgeries with interlocular lenses. And most of those are free to the patients who come. And because of a second grant, they've had a second surgical suite, so now they can do even more cataract surgery in India. The Saginaw Valley Club has a number of members who come from this part of the world, and so they've invested heavily in their own community. Water sanitation and hygiene, that's another focus. And when people have access to clean water and sanitation, waterborne diseases decrease, children stay healthier and attend school more regularly, and mothers can spend less time carrying water and more time helping their families. So in 2013, since 2013, the Rotary Foundation invested more than $130 million in over 2,000 projects worldwide. So volunteers or of action have improved access to safely managed and basic wash services to communities, schools, and healthcare facilities while protecting and conserving water resources. They have been partnering with USAID to assist those communities and governments. So we are always working together. And we challenge our members to develop sustainable grants. So two projects to sort of highlight there. One again is again with the Saginaw Valley Club in a water plant at Apapuram village in the same area in Andhra Pradesh. And so this provides a central water system for the school and these children. There's a water softening plant. There's an overhead tank that has 100,000 liter capacity. So a whole range of things that are important to that. And also implementing sanitation and hygiene education for the students, faculty, and staff. Now, our own district has spent, this is another picture of the sanitation block, quite an outhouse, if you would, and big Rotary symbol across the top, so you know that we're there. So this is an area where we have specialized, particularly in the Dominican Republic, in the area around Santiago. See past District Governor Randy there, and some kids washing their hands in an outhouse that is a real upgrade for them. We worked on water collection and storage, latrines and filters, hand washing and hygiene. So 9 different clubs have led grants from our district for this part of the world, and there's one that's underway. So it's likely that your club has been a part of one of these many grants. Maternal health and child health. So we want to expand access to quality care so mothers and children everywhere can have the same opportunities for a healthy future. An estimated 5.9 million children under the age of 5 die each year because of malnutrition, inadequate health care, and poor sanitation, all of which can be prevented. So some areas that Rotary has worked on are mobile prenatal clinics. In Haiti, there was a fully equipped medical jeep that went from place to place to reach mothers and children in remote areas. There's been a significant amount of cancer screening around cervical cancer and breast cancer for women in places like India. And obviously in Nigeria, there has been a major grant to work on saving the lives of mothers and children during home deliveries and the after effects thereof. Now our district has done some work, oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Our district has done some work primarily in Zambia, where former deceased Rotarian Paul Sears was really active. This is the Safe Motherhood Action Group. They've actually done 2 grants in this area. They've done a total of 6 with the Nadola Club in Zambia, some of them focusing on that areas. But here's a project where they've trained the women to do health work, and then if they complete the course, they get a bicycle to go and do their stuff. So project from our own area. Education, basic education and literacy. We know how important that is. Our goal is to strengthen the capacity of communities to support basic education and literacy, reduce gender disparity in education, and increase adult literacy. We support education for all children and literacy for children and adults. So obviously when it was possible, we opened a number of schools, girls' schools in Afghanistan to help break the cycle of poverty and social imbalance. And unfortunately, that school has been closed by people who don't think that women should be educated. An unfortunate development there. We work on literacy projects in the United States. We provide new teaching materials in places like South Africa. Again, making schools healthy by providing fresh, clean water. and in Kenya, working the Global Partnership for Education to advance lifelong learning opportunities for poor and marginalized children. In Guatemala, there's a cooperative for education that's done quite a bit of work. It started as a major grant and now has been spun off into its own 501c3 organization doing it. So we have a couple of things where I want to point out from our district. This is in Sierra Leone, where the Rotary Club of Alma St. Louis has worked with Ebola orphans, provided them a safe place to live, and also provided them with education, with training. Oh, I'll get to that. Sorry, growing economy. And in Uganda, the Rotary Club of Midland has worked at the school for 2 grants now. And so they provided solar power, so the schools have that. They have sanitation infrastructure. Oops, bummer. Back. Previous. Thank you. They provided, menstrual hygiene management, school furniture, teacher training, adult literacy programming, and computers. And this is an interesting, Dick Dolinsky, who is the Midland Rotarian, has done that. They thought giving people computers was a great idea. And then they discovered these were people who didn't know how to turn on the computer. So we weren't talking about training them how to use software. We're training them how to use hardware before they ever got started. So they've done quite a bit of project. And that one was done cooperatively with Traverse City and a club in California. So that's really an exciting way for Rotarians to work together. The next area of focus, there you go. Come on. Next, go. Is community and economic development. And this is an area I'm not sure we spend a lot of time thinking about, though it's really, really important too. Our members and our foundation work to strengthen local entrepreneurs and community leaders, particularly women in impoverished communities, provide training and access to well-paying jobs and financial management institutions. So in Guatemala, we've worked with some women and to get them collateral or to get them loans, even if they didn't qualify other places. Help 400 local women complete financial literacy courses. They pool their money and fund their own micro-lending programs. We've done skills development in places like Ecuador and sustainable farming in places like West Cameroon. All of those provide the basic economic future for people who live there. And why work with women? Well, they've discovered that the women are more trustworthy than the men in those places, that they spend the money on the projects and not on the beer. So it's a really important learning tool that Rotarians have, and they care about their kids and all the other things. And sometimes the men are off in other parts of the country working rather than being close to home. And so the women are the final backbone of that. So back to Alma St. Louis and the project they're working on in Sierra Leone. So this is just a sign of their sewing training that they have provided there. And so they offer sewing to residents and to local youth who can come in and do that. They've established a small scale farm on the site. So they provide food for the children and also can sell it outside. They've trained the youth in sustainable agricultural development. So all of that helps them to become somewhat sustainable. I don't know if the clothes are available on the website, but they look kind of nice. And even if they sell them locally, the school gets some money, the children or the people who are making the product, and they have a skill that they can use going forward. The final, there's the picture of the small scale farming. So happy farmers, it's growing, it's working, and they're using greenhouses to grow products, so it's protected from the animals that are outside, and people don't come and steal the crops while they're doing them. And the final and newest area of focus for Rotary is protecting the environment. In our area, that's Ann Tron's specialty, and if you talk to Ann, you'll learn about the environment really quickly. Oh, sorry, I went too far. Yeah, darn. Back. Clicker happy. So we're committed to supporting activities that strengthen the conservation and protection of natural resources, advance ecological sustainability, and foster harmony between communities and the environment. Empower communities to access grants and other resources, embrace local solutions, and spur innovation in an effort to address the causes and reduce the effects of climate change and environmental degradation. So we work on protecting and restoring land, enhancing capacity of communities to support natural resource management, support sustainable agricultural fishing, address the cause of climate change, strengthen ecosystems, and so on and so forth, address environmental justice issues and public health concerns. As I said, the 10,000 trees project in South Sudan will address this area as well. So if you've read if Rotary magazine, you will have noticed that when Rotary starts talking about environmental issues, there are a lot of there's a lot more debate than there is on some of the other areas, particularly as Rotary talks about climate change. Not all of our fellow Rotarians are buying into that as much. So, and then Anne has even found that when she's made presentations that not everyone's excited about talking about that too much. The other thing that's really, really interesting is that when you work on one area of focus, it seems to have overlap in others. So it's not as clean cut. But in order to write a global grant, it's really important to work on one area of focus because every area of focus has certain criteria for evaluating whether it's a successful project or not. And when you try to do a double, you have to meet both sets of criteria. And everyone says that is nigh unto impossible to do. So thinking about that, you can do that. So as you do a project that has to do with water and sanitation, it's probably affecting women, it's probably affecting education, it's probably affecting their opportunities to have a better economic life in their own community. So I want to thank the clubs that have participated or are participating in one of the Global Service Project. And if you are not yet or interested again in getting involved, we can connect you with clubs that seek partners to carry out the work. I know that Alma St. Louis is working another grant for Sierra Leone for the school where they've been, and the Midland Club still needs partners for the South Sudan project. Sizable amount of money is needed for that, and that will be in the next district dispatch. So with that, I conclude my presentation.
Nice job, Andreas. It's funny, Randy just jumped on.